And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, director at WEIU. Today we're talking and thinking about all things Charleston. In the office today, Charleston School District officials. We're going to go left to right on TV. We have Chad Burgett, Assistant Superintendent for Business Services. In the middle, Kristen Holly, Assistant Superintendent for Student Services. And the boss, Mr. Todd Vilardo, Dr. Todd Vilardo, the Superintendent.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having us once again.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming in. I'm going to have you pull that mic up just a little bit, Chad, over there. So I guess since we're in the middle of kind of this beginning of a heat wave, let's go to the breaking news first. Talk about Charleston changes this week due to the heat, and then we'll get into some other stuff. So who wants to start?
We started tracking the excessive heat warnings late last week, and then over the weekend reached out to our athletic directors and principals. And like many schools around us, we are canceling our sports contests this week through Thursday. So we're also going to be moving the practices to early in the morning or late evening. So stay tuned for announcements about postponements and rescheduled dates.
So no sports, at least the games Monday through Thursday, and then we'll let you know on football and practices as the week goes. So we just keep listening to Hit Mix, and we'll tell you all that. So I guess let's start with the district-wide breakfast that you had and what transpired last week. I believe last Wednesday. So I don't know who wants to go.
Sure. Post-COVID, Kristen can share more about it as well. We were very pleased to get back to some normality in our school district with a district-wide breakfast and in-service last Wednesday. And we had all of our staff back in the high school cafeteria and then in Swickard Auditorium. And we had a special guest last Wednesday as well. And because it's our 75th year of being Charleston CUSU #1, we thought it'd be kind of a special touch to have a teacher who might have been teaching in the district even before we were CUSU #1. And we thought that might be a little impossible because they'd be over 100 years old. And we found Wanda Rule, who is 101 years old, and she presented to our staff last week.
How was that? That had to be cool.
It was unbelievable.
It was amazing. There was a collective gasp in the audience, and no one knew. He surprised all of us with that, too. She came out, and she has the sharpest memory. You wouldn't believe it. She remembered very specific details about when she was teaching. She remembered, she talked to us about plowing the snow herself or shoveling the snow and keeping the fire lit in the classrooms. And afterwards, a lot of teachers wanted to take their picture with her. And it was really an inspiring way to start the school year.
How did you track her down, Todd? I mean, that had to be not easy, right?
Interesting story.
Yeah.
Our school board president, Jason Coe, and his family have been friends with Wanda Rule and her family for many, many years. In fact, Jason is a caretaker for Wanda. And so I've known Wanda for several years, and I thought, I wonder if she'd be interested in doing this. And she practiced, and she took it seriously, and we're so grateful that she spent the time with us on that morning. And she did a fantastic job.
101.
Yeah, she came in about 3 or 4 years ago to review her employee file. We had it at the district, and just as sharp today as she was 4 or 5 years ago. Very nice.
Where do we go from there then? I mean, first full week of classes is this week, so it's going to be kind of weird because it's going to be so hot. Any changes in class schedule, or are you just going to kind of keep things and kind of monitor it?
Well, this year at the high school, we remain with the block schedule. However, there is a slight change at the high school in that on Fridays, the schedule is going to run all through all of the classes rather than having a one of the scarlet or gold days. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I know last year when we talked about, you were implementing a bunch of new projects, some new buildings and some new programs. Did you get a chance this summer to evaluate and kind of think about those and talk, or is there any information on that?
Yeah, through the CTE program and the renovations we had in the Trojan A&M Center. Last year I felt bad for the teachers because they weren't able to get in there until about October. So it's nice this year that they've had the summer to plan and they can start day one. We've added a new teacher in that part of the building, so we're offering more sessions or class offerings for students. And I think I talked to Mr. Locke. He said over half the students at the high school will be in the Trojan A&M Center.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty exciting.
There you go. New school security officers this year and kind of a new game plan. Can you go through that?
Sure. That's yet another way to enhance and strengthen our facilities and school district security measures. We have security cameras, we have lockdown doors and iPhones on each of our entrances. Last year, we incorporated a school resource officer program. We have Erica Roa, and so we wanted to add more human capital to the security, and we added 5 school resource officers. So we have those in place now, and they're a welcome addition to our school family.
All of them have a law enforcement background, which is, I think, good.
They're all retired law enforcement officers. They're all armed, and they're very visible around our school community.
That's cool. The red and gold soccer tournament is supposed to be this week. Is it tentatively kind of get pushed back, or do we know?
My understanding is that we had a couple of schools cancel, so the high school athletic director and the coach, they're looking for a way to scale down that tournament to allow for competition this weekend, perhaps a mini tournament on Saturday. So more information on that will be coming.
Okay. The Leader in Me program, the character education continues and grows. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, we are at a stage now where it's pretty embedded into our schools. This year, we can look for, each school has student lighthouse teams, so students that are part of leadership and part of helping to make decisions in their schools, which is really exciting to see. Along with that, we have what translates at the high school. We're developing career pathways. We have 8 career pathways that we're working on developing. That goes along with the Trojan A&M Center that Chad talked about. We'll be pushing out information about that to the community probably this winter. So we're real excited about that too.
For the Leader in Me, is it available to all students, or how's that work?
Yes, there is explicit instruction in all K through 8 classes. They learn about the 7 habits. It's really kind of it's embedded into the culture of the schools. It's not necessarily a specific time of day. There is some direct teaching involved, but it's all in the way teachers and students interact and reinforce those habits in their day-to-day activities. And at the high school, there isn't a specific class or direct teaching. At that point, we're just reinforcing and keeping that language alive over there.
Chadley, with all these changes, and you're the one who has to keep track of all the numbers over there, how are things there financially as we head into this new school year for Charleston?
Financially, I would say we're in good shape. 4 or 5 years ago, our fund balances weren't nearly as high as they were now. But I think because they're doing so well, we're able to add those extracurricular offerings and add staff to support not only teachers but fellow teachers and students as well.
Because I know you're getting the new athletic track is being finalized hopefully this week or soon.
Yeah,
so
they're putting the finishing touches on that. That track was over, I think, 22 years old, and basically it was getting apart. There were some spots in it I would say were unsafe. So they've taken that track all the way down to the base. Yeah, you can see a picture there. They hadn't quite lined it yet, and one cool thing about that, they lined it freehand almost.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I don't know how the person did it or not, but they've got to put the fence around it, and then we should be ready to go for this Friday night's football game.
That's awesome. And Matt Charleston plays Trojan. They play Hersher at Trojan Hill, if I could talk today. It is Monday, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things is not just a Charleston situation, but everywhere is teacher shortages across this country. Talk about them in the Charleston School District and where we're at right now.
Yeah, with EIU right here in Charleston, for years there's been a teacher shortage. But with EIU here, I never thought that our school district would experience the shortage that it is. But we do and have experienced some shortages in social workers and counselors and special education teachers, speech language pathologists. So some of the specialty areas we've experienced some shortage.
So no classroom really issues in terms of coverage?
Not so much.
Okay.
However, we have a lower pool of candidates from which to choose, and when compared to years ago, we might have 80 some applicants, whereas now we might have a half a dozen or 12. But the quality of the candidates is still there, and I'm pleased with that.
When you think about the classes, is there rules on how many students can be in a classroom at Charleston or in the district? When you think about teacher shortages, do you have to bulk up more classes, or is that even an issue?
We focus on low class sizes, average class sizes, but there are some state laws and federal laws with regard to the number of students that can be served with regard to special education specialty areas.
Mm-hmm. We try to keep our numbers pretty low in the classrooms to help maximize learning for our students.
What about needs right now? Are you still need substitutes and volunteers, bus drivers or anything? It'd be a good time to talk to the community about that.
Bus drivers were pretty good right now, Chad.
Pretty good right now.
Aramark Food Service, pretty good right now. What else? We're short on a kindergarten teacher. We didn't have a kindergarten teacher, so the class size there is 22. We've seen class sizes in the past of 26 and 28, so that's still better than in the past.
Yeah.
But that's an area, that's a shortage that we were not able to fill that spot.
We always need substitutes as well. That's a big need. We haven't had a lot of professional development yet, but once we start having some professional development, we always look to fill our classrooms with qualified people to help teach our students when our teachers can't be in there.
There you go. The CHS 400 wing renovation, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds really
The 400 wing was built in, I think, 1973, so it's a 50-year-old building. And the walls were temporary, original carpet still in there. So every student in the high school spends at least part of their day in the 400 wing, along with, I would say, 28 teachers. So that was in desperate need of new lighting, new air conditioning, new roof. I mean, we would see the trash bins catching water because the roof leaked and the air conditioning go out. So we're replacing just about everything. And then the other part of that is our media center is in the main floor of that portion. And with the changes to competency-based education and the way kids are learning and teachers are teaching, we're revamping the space of the media center. So no longer just having those individual study carrels, but there's going to be a place for small group meeting or collaborative areas, maker spaces. We're also going to have the Trojan Brew, the student coffee shop will be in there, and there's going to be a little cafe area. So if a student or a community member want to come in and have a cup of coffee and sit and visit with the students,
that's cool.
They can do that as well. So we're hoping that'll be done January of next year.
Other changes or things that people will see different as they go into any of the schools in the Charleston School District this year?
Can you think of any other?
There's just, I think a lot of work was done over the summer to make schools welcoming. You'll see at Carl Sandburg, they have a nice entrance there now. They have some tables and chairs set out there. The landscaping in all the schools has been fixed up. I think it's just lots of hard work to get everything to look ready to go for our students. I can't.
A lot of new faces.
Lots of new faces.
You talked about teacher shortages.
Teachers,
I think we had.
Is that a good or a bad
30
thing
new
when you have
staff
new
members.
teachers? A lot of new teachers. I mean, because it brings fresh blood in, but you have to kind of train them to your kind of way.
Yeah, it brings in new ideas, creative ideas. I just spoke with a teacher that's retiring this year, Susie Bosler, this week, and she said she was implementing a new idea in her last year. And some of that's probably of her own research, her own doing, but new teachers bring in a new energy and some new ideas as well that our veteran teachers can benefit from. Kristen Holly oversees the new teacher induction and mentoring program.
Yeah, we spent 4 days with them over the summer. It's always one of my favorite experiences because they bring such excitement and, just new ideas. So we spend 4 days together. They get some time to work with a mentor and a teaching partner and meet with their principals. We give them an overview of the district and some important things. They spend a whole day with me learning about competency-based education, and then they learn about their technology, district technology on the 4th day. But we also had an opportunity this year to receive, it's called the Teacher Vacancy Grant. So we received some funding from the state of Illinois to help us recruit and retain teachers. So we're able to do some creative things maybe this year that we haven't been able to do in the past.
When you're talking to new teachers, are they brand new or do they come from other districts?
All of the above. We have some brand new. We have some people that have been teaching for 20 plus years in other districts. We really see a pretty wide variety of
local and far away.
Yes,
that's all
of it. We also have some teachers that came back that were working professionals, not in education, that got their teaching license and are coming to teach with us, especially at the high school in some of those specialty areas.
Had a few teachers that were with Charleston and left, and now they're back with Charleston.
Yep.
2 from Australia.
Oh, really?
Came back. Yeah,
that's
came
cool.
Back to us.
Now you have a new athletic director. It's true, and I forget the name, so I'm going to let you.
High school athletic director is Brian Dedman.
Okay.
And he's been an administrator in the past, new to our district in the last couple of years. And so far, he's doing a fantastic job of coordinating the programs and communicating what's happening.
Well, he's hitting ground running this week already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what about it? I know it's probably early, but is enrollment at the school district, I mean, at all levels, is it even, flat, up, or
Yeah,
do we know yet?
Our enrollment, when compared to last year's at this time, is up just a bit. We have a high school class. Is it the freshman class? That's a rather large class. So a little bit up.
Yeah, high school numbers
That's good.
in particular.
Encouraged by that.
This past week, I know EIU partnered with Jumpstart Service Day. Did Charleston take a part of that, and can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I don't know the extent to which the Charleston School District participated in that, but we help EIU. We've had great partnerships with EIUs in communicating those activities on behalf of EIU and getting our families involved and our families onto EIU's campus.
Is there a direct communication you have with parents and students, via email or direct message, and how's that going, and who's actually in charge of the actual messaging?
Yeah, we do.
Well, we have a public relations committee that has over the years developed a plan that includes multiple vehicles to get communication out and encourage two-way communication. Years ago, we didn't even have a Facebook page. Now we have a Facebook page, for example, that we have empowered any staff member in our district to upload information on the Facebook page to get information out. So that's one way. We also have what's called Thrill Share, and that's linked with our website and Facebook page and Twitter account and so forth, X as it is now. And again, staff members can send information out as teachers, whether it be athletic events, rescheduling activities, put pictures out there. So there's a lot to it, and we're happy with the way that we can get information out to the public, because oftentimes they say, I didn't know about that. Well, there's multiple ways to learn what's happening.
And having the ability to text parents. I mean, a lot of parents, you're going to see a text before your child gets home with a piece of paper that you may or may not see, and then parents are able sometimes to respond back to the school via text. So that's nice.
And at the beginning of the school year, it's probably tougher than after you get into the system for a few weeks to make sure that people are getting their questions answered, and you're dealing with parents and students, and sometimes multi-parent families in situations. So that's got to be tough as well, I would assume.
Lots of evening orientation activities and open house activities are going on in the schools right now for a lot of what you're saying, to get that communication right up front to all the parents. I think Carl Sandburg's is tonight, and we had a couple last week. So, yep.
Now, Todd, how do you motivate your team at the beginning of a semester? I mean, I know semester when the kids are coming back, even today at Eastern, there's just that little electricity in the air, but you still have to keep them motivating and keep them pushing on. How do you do that?
Yeah, so the big opportunity for me is at the beginning of the school year. It's that district-wide, all-staff breakfast and in-service. That can be, a launching pad, a springboard, if you will, to the school year, gets us started. But really, we try to empower our principals to, as Kristen mentioned, with the teacher recruitment and retention grant that we received, we empower our principals to build and strengthen a positive culture in our schools, not only for the students, but for the staff. And so we do that by recognizing staff who are deserving of special recognition, breakfasts, just tokens of appreciation, just to tell them that we appreciate what they do. We recognize it's challenging work. We recognize that there may be rewards that come years later when a student comes back and says, thank you for not giving up on me, or thank you for making a positive difference in my life. But the immediate rewards are few and far between, so we empower our principals to say thank you and encourage that in our entire school community.
Would you mind listing the principals just so people maybe know some of the names?
Sure.
Yeah.
Put you on the spot, somebody.
Starting at Mark Twain is Denise Titus is the principal, and Carl Sandburg is Abby Schmitz is the principal, and Beth Ann Morgan is the assistant principal. Ashmore principal is Kristen Brown, and then Jefferson is Rob Alm, and Jeff Marlowe is the assistant. At the middle school, it's Robert Lynn, and Blaine Mayhall is the dean of students, and at the high school, Mr. Aaron Locke is the principal, Jim Wood is the assistant principal, and then Corey Brimner is a new position. That's a dean of students over there, and he already mentioned Brian Dedman's the athletic director.
I just really wanted to see if she could get it, and she nailed
got
that. Didn't even think about it. She nailed it. That's awesome.
We're a big team. We
There
all
you
work
go.
together.
Right.
I was going to mention, he mentioned recognition. Something we should let the community know is if there's a teacher, a staff member, or a student that somebody wants to recognize, there is a link on our website that somebody can go to it and recognize or thank somebody that's in our district, a student or a staff member, and we will reach out to them to let them know that happened.
I think Rob's in the other room. Denise Titus was one of ours. She worked here at WEIU way
Is that
back.
right?
Oh, wow.
Oh, she
I didn't
did?
know that.
I'm almost positive about that.
Fantastic.
No? They don't? Oh, he's not in there. Okay. So I'm almost positive. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that link that Mrs. Holly just mentioned is also incorporated into a QR code, and there are signs around various business establishments in our community where maybe if you walk into a counter at a fast food restaurant, you'll see that, and you can recognize a student or staff member that way.
That's
And
really
we forward all those. We receive those in our office, and we forward all those to the principal so that they can recognize in their own special way.
What challenges do each of you see this school year? Anything that we think may be a challenge as the year goes on? We'll let Chad start.
I was talking to a board member about the budget. I think, inflationary costs is really going to take a toll, excuse me, on the district, especially. It's just not construction projects, but whether it's food service or transportation, everything is up right now. And as we look to go into contract negotiations with busing next year, or food service next year as well, that 13% on $12 million or $1 million, it's not just a few pennies. It'll be a big hit to us.
Chad mentioned all the construction going on, which is a great thing and really positive, but it also creates some inconveniences. The high school, he mentioned that all of the students in the high school at some point are in that 400 wing, and now it's not available. So it means traffic jams in the hallway for students, and that a lot of teachers have been displaced. And so we just know it's going to be inconvenient for a little while. And we hope people can be patient, knowing there's good things to come from it.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me will be trying to keep these two, Chad and Kristen, in line this year.
It's a full-time job.
Now, you're retiring at the end of this year, right?
Yeah.
That's true. You saw the
Let's not get ahead of
you
ourselves.
saw the gray
don't wanna
on
talk
the
about it.
exchange zones on the track. In a way, we're in a little bit of a exchange zone, as indicated in the gray in my hair or no hair. As this will be my last year, and the board has already named Chad as superintendent next year, and they're going to make a great team. I'll stick around and work part-time and do whatever Chad needs me to do next year. But kidding aside, this is the greatest administrative, I call them the executive leadership team. This is the greatest team I've worked with, and Chad and Kristen. They are excellent at what they do. They take initiative. They're people of character. And our administrative team is likewise just as competent and filled with strong character. I've been very blessed to work in this school community. Our board has supported through the years, and I'm going to miss it. But the challenge really is just another opportunity to just continue to strengthen that this year for years to come.
Do you think of a legacy of Todd Vilardo, or are you just thinking about this school year?
Right now, I'm just thinking about this school year. There's always the next thing I'm looking forward to every day or every week or the next board meeting, and so I'm just looking forward to the next thing in our schools.
A year from now, when we have you two back, what will we be saying? What will you say you miss most about Todd? Do you think at that point?
Oh, putting them on the spot.
Oh,
Yeah,
we got to.
we've talked about a little bit about this, and he is such a good leader. He's so well spoken, well written, so encouraging. There's never been a time that one of us or a staff member shared an idea that he's willing to listen and, hey, what can we do to make this district better than it was yesterday or the year before? So he's been a great leader. He got us through COVID, if I'm allowed to say that right now. But, I mean, got us through that, and really looking always forward thinking, and I think that's been a great positive.
Yeah, he's a visionary, he's positive, and he compliments us, but that shows every day, and he trusts us and empowers us to do the work that we need to do. Very supportive of staff, and I do think everybody in our district feels that Todd Vilardo cares about them as individuals and not just as employees in our district too.
Very kind of you. Did I say $20? Was it 20?
You can pay us after.
There you go. When you all are sitting around in some of your meetings, how far out do you kind of plan events and things in the future so you guys are ready for like a benchmark is coming up January 1st? We have to do this.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, and I haven't even shared this with Todd, but Friday I was out of the office in St. Louis with my son, and I called Kristen and said, I've got an idea for next August. Let me throw this out to you, because I didn't want to forget it. I was in the car.
I understand, yeah.
And I said, let's process this next week, and then we'll fill Todd in later, but so a year out, and we're
Yeah.
already thinking
I think
about.
we're always thinking about things coming up, and I mean, there's deadlines on some things that have to be done, but otherwise, I think there's always things to learn and always things we can do better and improve upon. So I think we're always talking about this just happened. How can we do
Yeah.
that differently next year or
I'd
next
say
month?
that ties in with facilities too, because as we finish up these projects, we'll evaluate fund balances and say, okay, what can we tackle next summer? Because that's the time you really want to try to get
Yeah.
the work done when the teachers and students
it
are
just
out.
depends on the task at hand. Sometimes Chad's working on the budget, of course, months in advance. Kristen's working on teacher orientation, mentoring program months in advance. Some things, they just hit you, and you have to plan ahead for the next day. For example, this interview today, we've been planning for 4 months for this interview.
That's why you're doing so good, right?
Yeah.
This is your excuse to get out of the school for 45 minutes to an hour, right? That's what I always tell. No, in all cases, I tell we do appreciate all the stuff you've done as well. You've always been very supportive of WEIU. We did the show last year, the school talk with one of the students, and we had great response from the community from that. And so we do appreciate everything that you've done and helped us as we have a couple minutes left today talking to Charleston School Business. Anything I forgot before we ask unrelated fun questions? Anything that you want to talk about from the Charleston School District?
I think we're off to a good start.
It's just the time of year. You know, I'm in the community, and very rarely somebody will say, "Oh, the EIU students are coming back. Here they come." And I just say, I love it. I love the changing of the seasons, and I kind of like it when school is out because it gives you a little bit of a reprieve. But when school comes back, EIU and the Charleston kids, public schools, the town blossoms back to life. And it's a lifeblood of the community. I just love it.
Oh, yeah, you feel the energy. It's amazing.
Energy, yeah, that's for sure.
All right, we're going to go down the road. Your breakfast go-to. What do you have to have for breakfast, or your favorite breakfast?
I'd say I'm kind of old school, biscuits and gravy.
Eggs all the way.
I usually drink a couple cups of coffee and a Belvita cracker and maybe some yogurt.
Your favorite country you'd like to visit, or a country you'd like to visit, I guess, better way to put it.
Greece.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. I went there last summer. Italy.
For me, it's Sicily.
Okay, that's a city, I think. Food that you cannot stand.
Lima beans.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Not eating them.
Okra.
Refried beans.
Really? Oh, yeah. Your first car. You remember the car and color?
1970 Pontiac Grand Am. It was goldish.
It was a white Pontiac Sunbird convertible, and I forget the year, but
Yeah, I think it was a 73 Dodge, and it was white, but we painted it baby blue.
Favorite cartoon growing up? We're running
That's
short on
a
time.
tough one. I can't think of one right now. Tom and Jerry.
the Jetsons.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny and all. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you three for coming. Todd, thank you. You may be back again. It all depends on scheduling in the spring, but if not, thank you all for all you've done,
Thank
and
you.
best of luck, and we'll see you two for
Yeah.
sure next year.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody have a great day. We are WEIU.